Hello and welcome. Lawyers for the former US President Donald Trump have released the search warrant used to raid his Florida home. It could confirm the reason for Monday's search of Mr. Trump's Florida compound. Now, as you can imagine, we're only just getting this information right now. And just to re-emphasize, this is a slightly unusual thing, the unsealing of a warrant in the middle of an investigation. So what we're doing, as we see the lines come out, we will give them to you. One of the lines that we're seeing says that the Trump probe involves alleged violations of the potential, I should say, violations of the Espionage Act. That's according to one reading of the warrant. The warrant also authorized the collection of Roger Stone clemency document in search of Trump Florida home. And there have been plenty of background to this. You might remember that raid was conducted earlier in the week. The former president was served that warrant. And there's been plenty of speculation as to what that warrant would include. The Attorney General came out the other day and talked about why it was important for this investigation to go ahead and why he, Merrick Garland, personally signed off on the search. Mr. Trump has denied wrongdoing. Now, we're going to look to the US media as well, because the Wall Street Journal has reported that items removed by Federal Bureau of Investigation agents from Mar-a-Lago, the compound, include 20 boxes, binders of photos, and a clemency letter, as I said just now, written on behalf of the political strategist Roger Stone. Also recovered was information about the President of France. That's according to the Wall Street Journal, although it's unclear exactly what that refers to. The list shows that one list of documents marked TS/SCI, that stands for top secret / sensitive compartmented information, a classification level reserved for information that could cause exceptionally grave damage to US security. The list also said to include 4 sets of top secret documents, 3 sets of secret documents, and 3 sets of confidential documents, I should say. Well, a little earlier, I spoke, before we knew the exact contents, I spoke to the lawyer and former federal prosecutor David Weinstein. He discussed what the likely political implications of this could be.
Well, certainly a lot of allegations are being made across the board against the FBI as to how they conducted the raid, as to the Department of Justice and the Attorney General, as to why they used a search warrant instead of just continuing to try to seek the return of these documents with a subpoena. And in order to level the playing field here and to make everyone aware of what procedures and protocols were followed, that's why the Attorney General had to come out. I mean, above all, politics doesn't belong in the justice system. The justice system and the judges and the prosecutors and the defense attorneys are supposed to operate above all that. It's a place for facts to be presented and the law to be argued, not for partisan politics to be involved.
And we're talking about warrants and redactions and documents. Is there any kind of timeline you can imagine or infer towards potential actual charges?
Well, one would think that they've been presenting evidence to a grand jury up to this point. At some point, they will present a proposed indictment to this grand jury to find out whether they believe that a crime was committed by people named in the proposed indictment. I think one thing that people aren't really concerned about or not looking at right now is that we have a general election coming up in November. There is an internal rule at the Department of Justice that you don't interfere with candidates who are involved in general elections. Now, in this particular election, the person whose property they were seeking is not a candidate for any office. However, Democrats and Republicans are candidates for office. And so to avoid any appearance of impropriety, of favoring one party over the other, the Department of Justice might delay the presentation of and obtaining formal charges against anybody until after the conclusion of the election. So it's likely that we're not going to see any formal charges necessarily in the next month or so, but certainly after November and after the elections in November, if there are going to be any charges filed, that's when I would expect to see them released.
David Weinstein there.